Late Night with the Devil is the first traditional movie from Shudder that I've seen. If you aren't familiar, Shudder is an on-demand streaming service that's entirely horror-focused. As a horror fan myself, I've been aware of them for a long time, but never really checked it out. I'm aware of some of their films, such as the VHS trilogy, but nothing really piqued my interest. One of the only films from them I had seen prior is Mad God, which while I love, definitely doesn't represent a majority of content on their network. This is to say that I really had no idea what to expect from this movie. If it was mediocre, with some funny moments or interesting visuals, I probably would have been satisfied. Thankfully, it managed to exceed that and become one of the more enjoyable watches of the year. The film is set in the 1970s and features what is sort of a found footage angle. A recording of a TV show called Night Owls, in which their Make or Break Halloween episode leads to shock and awe across the nation. You are following the host, Jack Delroy, who's had a number of traumatic events leading up to this day. Pair that with a shadowy connection to what is a blatant cult of the elite, and you're bound to wind up with an interesting outcome. You're seeing Jack attempting to get his career and life back on track with this one last chance to pop the ratings. The first part of the film is largely mockumentary in nature. It takes on an expository exercise more than anything. Given that I had no knowledge of the trailer or going into the film, I wasn't really that into it. However, it's hard to say it's ineffective in retrospect, as it adds intrigue and reference points for otherwise confusing events. The film does have a clear narrative and vision that it's trying to get across, which is something I can appreciate from being often disappointed with movies of the same ilk. As you get into the actual meat of the movie, the aesthetic through line and what you can expect going forward becomes clear. A night of what was once then entertaining but now mundane and even innocent late night TV. However, as the night goes on, it becomes apparent that this isn't your standard programming. While this could be a crutch for another movie, they do a relatively good job at immersing the viewer. As we go segment by segment, we get increasingly dragged down to lower depths, with little behind the scenes and production shots to show the real nature of our completely disconnected host. The level of camp or awareness isn't done in an ironic way that insults the viewer or belittles their own product either. Rather, it adjusts your expectations and creates an interesting juxtaposition between the funny or silly parts and the more horrific elements. For me, it blended together well and was amusing to watch more than anything. As a result, moments that would be completely unserious in another movie became more entertaining and even a little bit shocking. The trade-off between part 1 or 2 really is effortless. A lot of this is thanks to the actors and using what actually made some of those late-night TV shows interesting in the first place. Inviting this group of mysterious people with supernatural abilities or backstories onto the show to have a proto-Reddit atheist belittle or explain away their presentation, ramping up tension and dangling the guillotine that hangs over the viewer's head, leaving them never knowing when it's going to fall. The performances by both David Dastmalchian as Jack Delroy and skeptic Ian Bliss were definitely my favorites. Set to one soundstage, they definitely pushed the actors to give organic and believable performances. Now, the only real issue to mention for me is the brief use of AI, trying to fit the aesthetic and having these little intermissions and whatnot. The creators of the film did use AI for a couple of images. I don't really care, but if you feel like insulted that an otherwise good movie with a talented cast would put blatantly bad AI art in front of you, fair enough. I just would not let it take away from the good job that everyone else did on the film. There's plenty to talk about, from the FX to music, and any number of other things that really complement or even complete the package. Late Night with the Devil is a relatively short but amusing watch that perfectly nails its premise. Its character-driven, increasingly rabid story leaves little to criticize, and ends on a note crazier than you would have ever expected from the start. Without spoiling anything, I can say that the end is definitely my favorite part. Overall, a great movie for fans of the genre, and something that I could even see myself watching again at some point. What did you think of Late Night with the Devil? Do you care about the minor usage of AI? Are you interested in any other Shudder features? I sort of am myself, but I'm not really sure what I would check out next, so I'd love some suggestions if you have any. Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thanks for making it until the end of the video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content. Here at Inner Spiral, we aim to create a mix of multimedia content, covering the TV shows, movies, and games we all love. So be sure to join us, and I'll see you next time in the Spiral.